Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we have a new Fractal tone tutorial for you, and this is how to dial in the Vibroverb on the Fractal. I'm using my Fractal FM9 Turbo, but you can also use the FM3, Axe3, and this will work because the FM3 just got a new update because we are utilizing the Klon in this. We're going to be taking a look at a clip from, or a couple clips from a performance that David Ryan Harris did with Scary Pockets. This was a couple months ago, maybe a little bit further back, and John Mayer was the guest. He brought out a Vibroverb and a small pedal board for this performance. He does this quite often for smaller gigs, but let's go ahead and take a listen to these clips. You're going to hear the intro, which is really clean, and then you're going to hear the second solo he takes, and it's kind of divided into two parts. There's kind of a slightly dirty tone, which is probably the Klon, and then the Klon and the Tube Screamer together. So let's go ahead and roll these clips. Alright, so now we're here in FM9 Edit. We're going to try and replicate those tones as best we can. We're using the Vibroverb AA. I think this is Cliff's personal Vibroverb 64, I think. In the clip that you heard from John playing those licks, very clean neck pickup, slightly warm on his Silver Sky, so we're going to try to replicate that as best we can. Have this one pulled up. These are my settings. Not very far off from the stock settings. I think I dumped some bass, and then I think I just adjusted the amp level, and that's really it. And for the cabs, we use the 1x15 Vibroverb, and this is the 313B set to ultra res. And then I wanted to get a room mic IR in there set to ultra res to kind of capture that room feel from the tone that we heard. I did some high and low cuts right here, just so it wasn't too sparkly on the top end, and then added some room level. And then for the reverb block, we used the large spring, which I don't normally use, but I really like this one. Here are the settings. I just adjusted the mix and level and added a little bit extra time there. And then in the EQ, I think I did do a little bit of high cut. I just wanted a really big trail to the sound. So here's the clean scene, neck pickup of my Michael SX Custom with Lindy Fralin Vintage Hots. Okay, so there's a really long trail to the reverb, plenty of mix, and that's just because listening to the video clip of John playing the intro, you hear the trails in the mix. I really wanted that to come through, so that's why the reverb is so high. Now the solo he did, he kicked on what I believe was the Klon. So this is the second solo, but the first part of it. So we're going to go to scene 2, which is the Klon. And as you can see, there's also a delay that comes up. So here are the Klon settings. The gain's a little bit higher, and that's kind of how John runs it. And the delay, we're trying to mimic the way huge octopus. So very subtle slap back delay. Here are my settings. And let's see, I think that is about it. I might have done a little bit of high cut in there, so definitely check those stock settings as well. But really what I wanted to do was to get that kind of analog drive from the delay, if that makes sense. If you've ever run analog delay in front of amp with a little bit of drive, you know what I mean. There's just something about it, and in this solo you can really hear that coming through. So it really starts to sing when you dig in. That's why I really like the Vibroverb in the Fractal. I did do a standalone tube screamer scene, so you can dial that in as well. But we really just want to look at the next part of the clip, which is when he stacks the drives. So that's what we're gonna do right now. We have the T808 in front of the Klon, or the Klon Chiron, and then same delay settings. I think I gave it just a tiny bit of scene level bump, just because it was not quite tickling the red. So we did that right there. Let's go ahead and play a little bit. So right there with the stacked drives, you really hear what that delay is doing. It's really adding to the drive. That's kind of how I like to think of it. And in that video clip, you can definitely hear that he had the delay on. Now you're probably wondering why this chorus is here. This is something that I picked up from dialing in the Steel String Singer preset that I did a while back, and which was derived from Austin Buddy's preset. It's just a dimension 1 chorus. I set it to sine LFO type, and then it's a 8.6% mix. This adds just a little bit more 3D feel to it. So switch it off. So you might want to adjust the mix on that a little bit, but I just threw it in there just because. There's also a third drive block, and that's just for a little bit of boost. There was a first solo for this song that they did, and John kind of lived on the neck pickup and the bridge pickup, and there's obviously something to push him in front of the mix, which was probably either the katana, or he's been using the exotic effects, the Sweet Clean, Super Clean, one of those guys. So it's probably something along those lines. But I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Dial this in yourself. Let me know what you think. I'm really liking this amp model recently, so I hope you enjoyed it, and take care.